What's good, everybody? It's your boy Greenwaves, and today I'm bringing you guys a video telling you about an acid trip that I had. I'm going to be telling you guys, I'm going to be making a few videos of these because I realize I have so many fucking stories and so much knowledge that I've gained through this as well that I really would love to share with the world. So let's get into it. So the trip we're talking about today, I was living in Brisbane at the time, Brisbane, Australia, and I was with a girlfriend at the time. And so what we did was we got these acid tabs. I believe that they were around 200 UGs. It's hard for me to exactly remember. They might have even been 300. I think they were 300 UGs. And I remember grabbing them, and then the guy, this is one of my first trips as well, like kind of when we're first getting into it. So the most I had maybe taken was like 120. So maybe 150. And so the guy's giving it to me and he's going, these are strong, like this is strong. He's like 300 UGs, bro, like this is strong. And I was like, yeah. And he's just like, nah, bro, like this is pretty strong. So nowadays I know that I'm pretty sure it was an analog. But at the time I wasn't really aware of all that stuff. Like I said, it was pretty early days. So he's saying that's really strong, and to take it easy. So we're heading out to the gardens. It's like this big, massive botanical gardens. And there's like roads and paths through the gardens basically. And each section is, there's a whole bunch of different sections from like different countries. So there's like an Asian section, like an African section, and lots of rainforests and bonsais, and like a bonsai section. And just a lot of forest walks. And like there's a big river there and a bunch of flowers and cactus, just basically every plant that they can get from around the world. They've built this mini like world there. So I used to trip on acid there a fair bit. But this was probably one of the first times we had taken acid there, maybe the first or second time we had taken acid out on a drive to go get somewhere, and in this much public nature. So, because there's quite a lot of people around. So anyway, I remember we're sitting down. We go down to the bottom section that has this big open like lake. And there's all different grass sections that you can sit around the lake. So me and my partner, we're taking the acid. I think we took it before. We used to take it before we drive out. So by the time we get there, it kind of start kicking in a bit. So we're chilling out. We took half a tab. I believe we took half a tab when we did this. And it was one of the craziest, strongest trips I've ever had in my life. Still to this day, and I've had a lot higher dose, and you know what I mean? So I have a feeling that these were just some powerful analogs. But nevertheless. So I remember sitting there, and it started to really come on, like really, really, really strong. My visuals were going really like almost kaleidoscopy. And I was like, whoa. So we started laying down on the grass. And I love to do this as well. At the start of a trip, I generally have this kind of meditation time during the peak where I'll allow myself to lay down and just go. I think that's very valuable with psychedelics, is that you need to be having the set and setting, all that's important, but the intention behind it and having your own little, figuring out what works for you, your way to work with it is really important. So I could see that I was about to go into some like crazy multi-dimensional space. So I laid down on the grass hill there, and there are people all around, but at this point, we kind of realized that sometimes people are just gonna know you're tripping. If you're in public, you have to kind of know that there's some people might know you're tripping. You might do some real weird shit. It just doesn't matter. You just have to fully let go of the fact that people may or may not judge you when you're out in public tripping. You just have to ignore that. So we're laying back. It's really hard for me to remember exactly what I saw. I remember going through a lot of like hyperspace kind of experience. But there's one thing that stood out to me. And I remember seeing this lady, this like train, like, you know the old like coal steam trains? And they used to like steam, they used to like throw coal into the fucking like fire, into the furnace. Or like the old boats, and they used to throw fire into the furnace. I was seeing this like lady, this kind of like big lady with a with like a truck with like a train driver's cap on, but like shoveling coal into this furnace, and she's rubbing her head like this, like sweating, and she looks at me and she's going like, "Stop, stop, slow down, slow down." And it wasn't about the acid; it was about me in life. I was doing things that weren't good for my body, and I was putting too much stress on myself. I was doing way too much. And I remember that being super clear when she was saying it. And me just being like, fuck, yeah, I gotta slow down. I gotta chill out. And I remember always thinking whenever I get too worked up, I still to this day picture that lady. And I'm like, nah, she's going too hard. I gotta chill out. So after this had happened, I remember after that going out into like hyperspace. I remember it being a real experience, like completely gone from my body. And I remember when I came back to my body, I sat up and was like, holy shit. And I like looked at my partner and she's laying down and I'm like, okay, she's gone through some crazy shit as well. So I'm looking around and the whole gardens center is just, it's beyond words. It's hard to explain this shit, right? But yeah, the whole garden center was just alive, full of color and patterns, and you could see that how everything is just synced together, dancing together, living together. And I really felt that like that sacred life that was there within the gardens. And I always find it funny being in public places when I'm tripping, especially when I'm tripping heavy. And I watch people and it's like and animals and everything like moves and works in these weird patterns. And when I trip, I really start to become aware of that. Like human behavior becomes really strange to me when I'm tripping. I find human behavior strange, period. So if, when I'm tripping, it definitely makes me analyze the way people and things work, like on a whole higher level. But that's something I remember really standing out from a lot of my trips is animals in particular, like birds on the ground. We had this apartment, and just outside, these turkeys would come in the garden, and there was like this like pattern that they would follow, and they would just walk in that pattern, and you could see the like path when you're tripping. You can see like this pattern path that they're going to walk on, and they just walk on it, and they keep walking around that pattern. And it used to make me think like these animals must see and live in that higher, you know what I mean? They must live in that higher energy realm, because when you're tripping and when you're just aware of energy in general, animals are very aware of that. My cat is fully aware when I'm doing energy work and stuff. My cat knows what's up. When I'm tripping, he knows what's up. And other animals know what's up when you're tripping. So I think because they're in that higher dimensional light realm, that once they see your light build up, then they recognize it like, oh, what's this guy doing? And they kind of come over to have a look. So above, so below. So let's get back to the trip. So I remember we were walking around. I remember actually going into the bathroom and it being a really strange experience. I can't remember if there was people in there on the outside. Now that I think about it, I actually can't really remember what happened. But I just remember coming out and me and my girlfriend just looking at each other laughing. So we're walking around. Everything's alive, really alive. All the plants are alive. You can see like, this is something that stood out, right? So after we were walking around for a bit, we went through this rainforest. Everything's just completely alive. I remember seeing like fractal patterns aligning themselves within the forest. Oh my god, that just reminded me of another trip. I have to make a video about this other trip that I had. I went on a holiday once. It's a similar story because it's out of gardens, but it was in like on a holiday, and that whole trip was insane. But anyway, we're walking through the forest. I remember we get out to this part where you can kind of look back and you're a bit above the forest, so you can look back over it where you've just walked through. And I swear to God, I could see the whole entire forest going from like full-grown trees back down again, and it was like open land. And then you'd see different parts of the forest like growing up, and so I was watching like the timeline of that forest going from land into like a forest that they made. And I got to watch the trees and the plants and stuff grow from like nothing into their full forest state. I can't remember if I saw them go into the future or not, but I definitely remember seeing the forest like regrow in front of my eyes. I even had a video on it. I even made a video at this point because I was in such amazement with what I was seeing. And I was filming it. When you watch the video, of course, it's just like me filming the forest with my hands on there doing this, like where the forest was going. I was like, look, see that tree's going down there? It was crazy. That was a crazy experience. So there's a lot more to it, obviously. We probably would have been tripping there for at least 4 or 5, 6 hours. And then a time comes where we have to go home. And I obviously don't recommend this to anybody, but I drove on acid. And I've done it a few times now. Not to be like, I've done it a few times, but just, I guess, storytelling. But I do not recommend, do not drive on acid, especially if you haven't before, especially if you've never taken acid before. Definitely don't think that it's this thing you can drive with. I honestly have no fucking idea how I did it. But I remember, so we're getting in the car. I remember getting in, my girl being like, asking if we're good to drive and all that stuff. So once we eventually start cruising out, everything is really powerfully visual still. So I remember the road like morphing in. I'm trying to do 2 hands, but I'm holding the camera. The road like morphing in like this. So where I'm driving was like this thin, like tunnel vision thing that I could stick to. But the rest of the world was just like going crazy, going absolutely crazy. The road was all windy and bendy, wavy. And but we made it home. My girl was like directing me the best that she could. We were driving nice and slow, and made our way home and enjoyed our night. But yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Just a quick video. I've got so many fucking more stories to tell, so I realized I'm gonna start doing these videos more often. If you guys want to hear more trip stories, make sure you let me know. Leave a like and a comment below. Let me know what you want to hear. Just let me know what you think, or if you've had any similar trip stories, let me know below as well. A few things I learned from it was to take it easy on myself, to be really just not being so hard on myself, and not doing so much to the point that it's like burnout, you know what I mean? Finding a balance. Then another huge part of it was just the harmony of all things, the way that life just wants to live. And not only that, but watching the forest regrow and things like that, it put something into me about, I don't know, about just the stages of life. Because I've had a few similar experiences to that. And there's something stays with me that's about, like, growth, like, the journey. You know what I mean? Like, that journey is what we want to show. The journey is what we want to... Those trees wanted to show me, look at this growth that I've been through that created that experience for you. Look at all this growth that I've been through to allow people to walk through this beautiful, magical forest. Because it's such a magical experience, and we get out and we're like, wow. And then I get to watch it grow up. Like, that was crazy. That was a crazy experience for me. And that really sticks to me. The fact that the end result is never really an end result. Like, you're always growing and changing. But it's about the journey and how much fun we have. The end goal is so important, because that forest exists as that forest. That was always the intention and the plan. But the journey was such an amazing time as well. And it's not to be forgotten. You know what I mean? So, and then also, don't drive on acid. But that showed me that we always have this force inside of us, plus our angels, and depending on how aware of this you are, you know what I mean? But we've got our angels and guardians with us as well, and the universe is with us. So that experiences like that, like the driving on acid and things like that, really remind me that we are being watched over. It might sound kind of funny, but that experience and the fact that I made that from point A to B so easily and in such a funny, it was a really funny experience. I'm not gonna lie. It was a really funny experience. The fact that I could do that and just be completely fine is amazing. That's a godsend. That's a miracle. So this trip really outlined the importance of self-love and the love of the journey and the protection, the sacred energies and love that we have within and around us at all times. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like I said, be sure to leave a thumbs up. Let me know what you think, and I'll be back soon with more. Much love, Greenwaves.